What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel for the second video on this channel. The first video was NFL playoff predictions. Right now, the AFC is all correct. Depends on tomorrow. But anyway, welcome back. Before I get into this episode, which I'll explain in a second, just want to say follow my Instagram at RD Sports Blogs, follow my TikTok at Richie Dortis, and follow my podcast at the Sports Bible Podcast on all platforms, Instagram, on YouTube now, Spotify, Anchor, some on SoundCloud, not really though. Besides that though, I'm just gonna explain today's episode and we're gonna get right into it. The last couple of days I asked you guys on Instagram to send me random baseball players, and I got some interesting answers, to say the least. I got some obvious players, then I also got some weird guys, which you'll see in the video. And what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to compare the baseball player to a NFL quarterback, and kind of they're not their styles, but kind of how people look at them. I guess their styles too, stats, championships, all this stuff that comes into play. And so I'm just gonna check my phone. I'm gonna look at them. I think I got like 8 or 9. So thank you guys if you did give me one, and we're just gonna get started now. So okay, let's go here. Let's see what we got. All right, so we're gonna start off. We got David Wright. All right, that's a good one. I think David Wright is a good comp as a quarterback would be Tony Romo, because a very elegant, happy, positive guy. Both had back injuries, which is a sad comparison, but it's true. Both never really won. Both are, I don't want to say fringe Hall of Famers. Romo's probably more closer to the Hall of Fame than David Wright is, but they're both at a level where they could have been Hall of Famers and probably been locks if they didn't get hurt. So I'm going to do that I'm going to compare David Wright to Tony Romo. So if you're a Met or a Cowboy fan, like my family is outside of me, you'd enjoy that. So we're going to go to the next one now. I got Ichiro. Thank you, Joe Boxer, for this one, by the way. Thank you, at Nelson1118 for David Wright. But Joe Boxer said Ichiro. That's a tough one, Ichiro. I got it. Phillip Rivers, because Ichiro, I'm not going to find a guy that transferred from a different country to the MLB or the NFL. So I'm going to go with Phillip Rivers for the reason that both had a ton of counting stats. Like Ichiro had all the hits, had some stolen bases. His batting average was high, but that's not a counting stat. But runs scored, but he never won. And I know in baseball it doesn't matter as much as football, but Rivers has all the counting stats, like yards, touchdowns, even picks. But he just never won the Super Bowl. And in that case, this is a hard one, but I would say that's a good comp to have, is Ichiro and Phillip Rivers, because you can't really find a Japanese, I don't want to say a Japanese football player, but a guy coming from Japan, Cuba, Puerto Rico, other countries too, like Germany, Italy. It's you're in the NFL, and that's really it, unless you come from the CFL. But in that case, it's not really a transfer; it's a different league, and it's not as serious as the Japanese league is. So, yeah, we're gonna go Ichiro to Phillip Rivers. Okay. Next we got at Ronnie Scarabaggio. Have fun spelling that last name, guys. Trevor Story. Impending free agent Trevor Story whenever this lockout ends, hopefully soon. I would say Trevor Story, good comp. I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson, and hear me out. I am not a fan of Lamar Jackson. I don't think he is elite. I think he's good, but that's my opinion. And the reason why I'm going to compare him to Trevor Story, or why I'm going to vice versa, is Trevor Story is coming off a down year like Lamar Jackson. And both of them, I feel like some people think they're really good. Some people think they're kind of average. Some people think they're in the middle. So it's almost like an identity crisis with both of them on identifying how good they are or how bad they are. And that rolls with Trevor Story, who's coming off a bad year, as well as Lamar Jackson, who was also coming off a bad year, plagued by injuries. And I think that, Story like himself, I guess he's probably gonna get a 1-year deal only for the fact that we don't know when this lockout's ending, and it's gonna be tough for him to sign and get hit the proper contract that he wants with the time that he's gonna have. So we're gonna go Story there. We're gonna go Story, Lamar Jackson. Next we got Antonio with 2 O's, .3 or .3 on Instagram. These are all on Instagram, by the way. And thank you guys if you submitted them. And I'm gonna do more things like this. I like to get people involved in my videos. I'm going to like to at least. I'd appreciate it if you guys followed my Instagram because I'm gonna have these type of polls up all the time, and you can see them in further episodes as well. So Antonio .3 or .3 said Tyler Glasnow. Now, I know why he loves Tyler Glasnow. I know him, so that's I know he would come up with that. I would say Joe Burrow because both one coming off injury, two very likable guy, and three like an up and coming star. Like Joe Burrow's in his second year now. He's in the AFC Championship game, which I predicted, and he glows in a way. Like he's a very like electric player, Joe Burrow, and similar to Glasnow. Like Glasnow like is electric when he steps on the hill, and he's hurt right now. Like Burrow was hurt last year. That's where I'm getting the comparison from. They're both very young, like relative to the NFL and the MLB, like what young is, and they can easily both be in like the top 10 at their position, if not top 5 in the next coming years. So I'm gonna go Tyler Glasnow. The equal for NFL quarterback would be Joe Burrow. Okay, moving on to the next couple. We have some interesting guys. We're gonna get to them last. I'm gonna get the one like obvious player out of the way, which is Francisco Lindor. This is also from Joe Boxer, BOKSER, if you guys want to follow him on Instagram. Thank you for this. Francisco Lindor is Matthew Stafford. And that was like the first name I thought of when I saw Lindor was Matthew Stafford because compared to like each other, they both got traded. Like Stafford from obviously the Lions to the Rams, Lindor from now the Guardians to the Mets. And similar to Story, like there's no like hard like idea of how good or bad these players are. Like, are they overrated? Are they underrated? Are they where they're supposed to be? Now Lindor's coming off a down year. Stafford's not. Stafford's coming off one of his better years. But I think that both of them have like a ceiling to be like elite players, and they might hit that ceiling. Both of them are at different stages in their career as well. But just for the fact that they got traded is like really what drove me to that decision. So I'm going to go with Lindor is Matt Stafford. This is a different one. This took me a while to find. Rob Cal 5. Thank you for the submission. He said Jose Salas. I had to look this guy up. He's a Marlins prospect. Remember this guy's name. I think I read 15 steals in 55 games or something like that. He's lightning fast, 300 hitter. He's like a prototypical like 1-2 hitter that's gonna play good defense for you and just fly around the bases. Because of that, the comp I got, I was gonna use Bailey Zapp, the college football player, but I felt not like no one really knows who this guy Jose Salas is. Like the average baseball fan probably doesn't know him, and the average football fan doesn't know who Bailey Zapp is. But they're both promising prospects that you are going to learn their name in the next coming years. But to stay on the NFL side of things, I picked Kyler Murray because of his speed and his height. Unfortunately, like they're both like not the tallest; they're kind of like a smaller build, but they both fly. They're both quick, agile. And if Kyler Murray played baseball, he'd be Jose Salas. Like he'd be the exact same player. So that kind of drove me to that. It helped me that Kyler played baseball. So I'm going to say Jose Salas. If you don't know his name, remember it. I was looking at this guy's numbers and some highlight videos. This guy can play. And Marlon's got a good one there. Hopefully, maybe he's in the league next year, a couple years. Who knows? So we're going to say Jose Salas is Kyler Murray. Okay, now the funny ones. Danny Dortis, that's my brother. Thanks for the submission. He said Coco Crisp. And for no fault of his own, Coco Crisp, because it is his name, but it's funny just to hear the name Coco Crisp. And I picked Gardner Minshew just because they're both very like fun and like interesting and unique. Then like they're like Coco Crisp This dude like just flew around the field. He was not like he was not he was very unique. He was very different. He was very out there and very just like himself. He wasn't like this he was professional, but he wasn't very like monotone, professional, boring player. Like Coco Crisp was fun and interesting. Like I keep saying the last 3 times in the last 25 seconds. So and Minshew's like that. Minshew with the mullet. Um, what else has he got? He's got the fancy motions he does. He runs around like a lunatic on the field. He's got the clothes, like he wears like the tucked in flannels and all that stuff. And he's very interesting. He's very fun and entertaining. And I think that's where I get the comp from. As players, I couldn't really tell you. Coco Crisp is a leadoff hitter, center fielder. Gardner Minshew is a backup quarterback right now. So comparing talent there isn't really easy. But just like from personality standpoint and how like kind of like how like fans view them, I I drew that comparison together. From this is an older player. This isn't really as much funny as is interesting, but Red Owl 1338, thank you for submitting this. David Justice. David Justice was a really good baseball player. And I don't think people realize that too much, but the guy like had career 878 OPS, 129 OPS plus, 279 average. I'm reading his stats right now. 305 homers. Jeez, like this guy was really good. And he just, when you think of top players, you don't think of David Justice. You think of in that era like the Griffies, or even before that, like the Braves pitchers. I think Chipper was like starting around this time, and you think of like Bonds. By the way, should be a Hall of Famer, but Barry Bonds, Bagwell, Biggio, like those kind of guys. Like you don't think of David Justice, a player like that in the NFL, where when you hear his name, you think he's a good player. Then you start ranking guys like, oh, he's better than I think he is. Like he's ranked higher than this guy or that guy or whatever. I think that's Dak Prescott. I think Dak, while he's not worth 40 million, but then again, very few guys are. But besides the point, when you when you hear the name Dak Prescott, you don't think, oh, he's a top 7, 8 quarterback. But then you start ranking quarterbacks, and it's like, oh wait, like he's better than this guy, and like that guy's ninth. So like, shouldn't he be eighth? That's like David Justice. Like David Justice is, I don't want to say sneaky good, but when you think of like all-time greats, which I'm not saying David Justice is an all-time great, but he's a pretty damn good player. Like I said, 130 OPS plus is really good. Slugging 500 for his career. He was in Moneyball. He was on that Oakland team. And he was older then. He played most of his career with Atlanta, actually, with the Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox crew. But besides that point, Justice was a very good player, but you would never consider him to be a star. And I think that kind of is where the category Dak falls under. So that's where I'm drawing that comparison. Okay, so moving to the next one. I thought this was I saw this one and I was like that's funny, like that's really random. And that's Brandon _ Junga. That's XHUNGA. Thank you for the submission. Xavier Nady. If you guys don't know who Xavier Nady, he played for the Mets for like not long, but he played on a bunch of teams. Baseball player. He was a solid player, nothing crazy. But when I think of Xavier Nady, and after looking at his numbers, I thought really average. Like I'm looking at his numbers right now as I'm talking about this. 755 OPS, 268 average, 99 OPS plus when 100 is league average. So he's literally the epitome of average. His best year was 2008, where he had a combined 867 OPS with the Yankees and Pirates, and had that year, let me do the math. And that year he had 25 homers and 97 RBIs. That was his best year. But outside of that, he was very average, very not underwhelming, very just like meh, like as people say these days. So the first quarterback you think of when you think of meh is Teddy Bridgewater. Great story, tough injuries come back from all the time, but he just wasn't. He's not anything special. He's going to win you 8 games at most. I still think Drew Lock should have started over him this year, but that's besides the point. Meh. That's Bridgewater. He's very just, yeah, like whatever. He's going to win you a couple games, but he's not going to excite you. Like Denver shouldn't be excited if Teddy Bridgewater is a quarterback next year. And I think that's Xavier Nady. Just you heard his name, it's like, all right, he was a baseball player, but he was just a guy. He wasn't anything to really sniff at or anything really interesting. Besides his name is pretty cool. Xavier Nady is pretty cool name. But yeah, besides that, that's the interesting one. And last but not least, you're gonna see them all in the corner like these players, and including this screenshot. I found this funny. I can't really compare it to anything because it's not a player, but someone gave me a post of, they said underscore Nick Marino 614. He said, "Thank you for the post." I laughed really hard. I'm gonna laugh again as I read it. The New York Yankees front office, how they care more about making money than rings. I don't know how to really answer that. I can't really compare that to a player. I'll do my best to compare it to a front office. I guess the front office I would compare it to in football. I was gonna say the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones does try to win championships. He's not all about, like, he's about his money, and rightfully so. But they put a good product on the field, which the Yankees do too. So, but to answer his question on how he views the Yankees, I'm gonna say Jacksonville. Not saying the Yankees are Jacksonville, because the Yankees are a much better organization. But in the idea that you think that they just care about making money than rings, that's Jacksonville. Like, the owner of Jacksonville is a billionaire, but they never win. That guy prints cash. I think his name is Khan. Yeah, Khan is his last name. And they print cash, but they don't win ever. Trevor Lawrence, I feel bad for him, even though he didn't show any progress this year at all. And if you're going to talk about how they care about more about making money than rings, then yeah, it'd be Jacksonville as the first team I think of in that case. But on the other hand, to compare the Yankees front office, I probably would go Dallas, in the fact that like high level owner when it comes to like popularity, historic franchise, but just hasn't won in the last 20 years. And that's the Yankees. Like, they've won once in the last 20 years. That's more than the Cowboys have, actually. But so I'm going to go Jacksonville and Dallas here. I'm going to go Jacksonville for the first part of what I said. And then I'm going to go Dallas for the second part of what I'm talking about, of the Yankees in general. But besides that, that's all I got. Again, thank you guys so much for giving me these submissions. I really want to do videos like this. I think they're interesting. I think they're more fun and more out there, and you can kind of go any way you want. I purposely didn't tell you guys what I was going to do the topic on, because I wanted to just get a raw amount of data and use something with it. But like I said earlier, just follow me on Instagram, follow my TikTok, my podcast. It'll all be in the link below. Also, subscribe to this channel, tell your friends about it. And for more videos like this, comment below that you like it. Also, like it. And do all the, I say this all the time, do all the generic things that YouTube tells you to do. And outside of that, I really had fun doing this. I hope I see you guys next time. So see you later.